Welcome back. This is the second lesson recording from IM1 Week 3 Distance Learning. We're going to start with solving systems of inequalities now. So, now before we go into that, let's recall what we already know. Remember when we're solving systems of equations by graphing, what do? We graph the lines and then we found points of intersection. That was the solution. Why was that the solution? Because that point satisfied the blue line and that point satisfied the red line. Or that point satisfied the blue equation and that point satisfied the red equation. Okay? So when we're looking at solving system of inequalities, what we are looking at is instead of point of intersection, we have a region of intersection where the area that is overlapped. Okay, so what do? We start by graphing both inequalities. That's our first step. And then we look for the intersecting, or in this case, because we're talking about a region, we can say overlapping shaded region. Okay, and that is the solution. To the system. So let me demonstrate by doing some example. The first example we're going to try is this example. Y is greater than 2 over 3x minus 1. Y is less than negative 3 over 4x plus 2. So we have two independent inequalities. And we're going to look for some xy combination that satisfies the first inequality as well as the second inequality. So let's call our first inequality my blue inequality. And let's call my second inequality red inequality. I like colors. Okay? Alright, so then let's start by looking at the blue inequality. What do we know about it so far? Well, in order to graph this, we need to start by graphing the line. So what do we need to know? We need to know the slope. What's the slope? Slope is this number in front of the x, that's 2/3. What's the y-intercept? That's this number right there without the x. So b is -1. What else do we know? Are we going to use dashed line or solid line? Well, this inequality says it's greater than. There is no equal sign here. That means that line is not part of the solution. So we're going to use dashed line. And what else? Are we going to shade above or below? Well, y is greater than. Where is y going to be greater than? Y bigger. For y to get bigger, we need to go above. So we're going to shade above. Okay, now that we've figured those facts out, let's graph just that. Okay, so we're looking to graph this, we're going to start with the y-intercept, which is -1. I have my point here. From here, I have the slope tells me 2 over 3. So that means 2 up, right over 3. So that's my second point. And I already know that I should be doing a dashed line. And I should be shading above the line. So the area that I am shading, they are the xy combination that makes the blue inequality true. So if I substituted any point on this blue shaded area into this blue inequality, it's going to come out as being true. Okay? Alright, now let's do the same thing for my red inequality. What is the slope? Slope this time is -3 over 4. What is the y-intercept? It's the positive 2. Okay, is it going to be solid line or dashed line? This equal sign tells me it's going to be solid line. Are we going to shade above or below? Y is less than or equal to. Less than or equal to means we want to go smaller. So it's going to be shade below. Okay, now that we figured this out, let's graph it. So we start by y-intercept of 2. And this time, negative 3 over 4 tells me I need to go down by 3 and to the right by 4. And now I am told I should be doing solid line. We've already figured that out. Okay, and I need to shade below. Shade below. So I'm going to shade with my red. Okay. Now look what do we have here. Okay, so we have 4 different colors here. We have an area where it's completely white. We have an area that is blue. We have an area that is blue and red. And we have an area that is red only. Okay, so what we're going to do, well, this area, this means that any point in this area is not satisfied by either of the blue or the red inequality. Any point in the blue area means it's satisfied by blue inequality but not by red. The red region is these points, XY combination satisfies the red inequality but not the blue. In contrast, do you see the overlapping area where it satisfies both blue and the red? This is our solution area. So I am going to make it even more stand out more by coloring this so that it is really clear to you and to me that we're talking about this area being the solution. So this is the solution region. And that means both inequalities are satisfied. Or it's a solution to both inequalities. Okay? Alright, so this time I would like you to try to solve this. I want you to practice by graphing your own. And I have y is greater than 6 over 5x. And y is less than or equal to negative 3x minus 2. Okay, so now you have these two inequalities. I want you to pause the video and try to graph this. Oops, I'm sorry, you can't see. Okay, here are the problems. Y is less than 6 over 5x and y is less than or equal to negative 3x minus 2. I want you to pause the video and try this on your own, and I'll show you my solutions in a minute. Great. So I hope you have done this by now. I am going to just do some color coding. Okay, so let's figure out the first inequality. What is the slope? Slope is 6 over 5. What is the y-intercept? There's no number. So what does that mean? Well, that means there is an invisible 0 here. Anything plus 0 is just by itself. So B is in fact 0. That means the y-intercept is right here at the origin, at 0. Okay, what else do we know? Are we going to use dashed line or solid line? It's less than tells me it's going to be dashed line. Am I going to shade above or below the line? Y is less than. If you just read out loud, it's going to give you a clue. Y is less than, that means shade below. So let's do that. Okay, so we're starting with origin here, and the slope is positive 6 over 5. That means go up by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To the right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we are doing a dashed line. And we need to shade below. Okay, alright, then let's do the same thing for my red line. And what do we know? What is the slope? Slope is -3. -3 means it's same as -3 over 1. We can always put 1 as a denominator. So from here, the y-intercept B is -2. Are we going to use dash line or solid line? Less than or equal to. This equal to tells me the line is included as part of your solution, so it's going to be solid line. And are we going to shade above or below? Y is less than or equal to, so it's going to be shade below. So let's do just that. -2 is my y-intercept, and from here slope is -3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. So here we go. Get my ruler, and this time it's going to be solid line, and I am supposed to shade below. So if I shade below, it's going to be over here. Okay, so then where is the overlapping region where it satisfies both the blue inequality and the red inequality? It is right here. This is my solution region that is enclosed by dashed line and a solid line. Okay, alright, I am going to do another quick example this time. Alright, so we have 3x minus y is greater than or equal to -1, and y is less than -1 and 1 over 2x minus 1. So where do we start? Well, can we graph 3x minus y is greater than or equal to -1 yet? Well, we want to convert that to y is equal to mx plus b form. Okay, so how do I do that? Let's do a little side work over here. Maybe down here. Okay, 3x minus y is greater than or equal to -1. We want to have it in terms of y. That means we want to get rid of anything that is around y. We want to get rid of 3x, and we want to get rid of this negative sign as well. Okay, so when we are, remember when we're solving for two-step equation, we always add and subtract first. So we need to subtract this 3x first. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides, which makes this go away, and you're left with y. Negative y is greater than or equal to -3x minus 1. And then from here, I don't want negative y, I want positive y. So what can I do? I can multiply the both sides by -1. So remember, this parenthesis means it's multiplied. So that becomes y on the left hand side, but just because we've multiplied by a negative number, what do we need to do to the inequality sign? We need to flip it. So -1 times -3x is positive 3x. -1 times -1 is positive 1. Now we can graph it. And so here we have the slope is going to be 3. Y-intercept is going to be 1. And we know that it needs to be solid line. And we need to shade below. Let's just figure out the facts, and then I'm going to graph it. The Look at this one. This is already in the y equals